Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another week of Good Guys Sports, joined by myself, your host today again, Blake Gerke, Jackson Gerke, Mike Roby. We got a very exciting sports weekend coming up. We've been saying it over and over. I'm a broken record here. October, an excellent month for sports. And this weekend is no different because we're going to start with the 2025 World Series happening this weekend tomorrow. We record here on Thursday, the 23rd. Game one of the World Series between the American League champion Toronto Blue Jays and the National League defending World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers, taking place in Toronto at the Rogers Center tomorrow. I'm sure many of our viewers and listeners are aware. Dodgers coming off of a pretty brutal sweep of the Brewers. They really handled their business there in that series. Shohei Ohtani, unbelievable pitching, hitting home runs in the same game he's pitching, something that you really haven't seen. We've seen Ohtani dominating Major League Baseball regular season, pitching, hitting, but he's bringing his performances to the postseason for the Dodgers, obviously last year and this year as well. So Dodgers will be heavy favorites in this series against the Blue Jays, who they themselves snuck a seventh game win against the Seattle Mariners. Heartbreak for the Seattle fans, wasn't it? Seeking their first ever World Series appearance. The Seattle Mariners, the only team not to appear in a World Series, and they just fell short on that last hurdle. You got to feel for the big dumper there, but the Blue Jays got it done at home, and they've been a really consistent team this year. Obviously, the number one seed in the American League for a reason. Don't want to put any disrespect on them. A better regular season record than the Dodgers, but despite this, Jackson, Dodgers are heavy favorites. I see you're wearing a Dodgers jersey. It's a little bit questionable why you're doing that. I'm not necessarily a fan of that, but we'll get to that later. But Dodgers heavy favorites here. Is there any case? I mean, here's my case for the Blue Jays, Jackson. They got home field advantage. They're hungrier than the Dodgers. They haven't won in a while since the 90s. I know on paper, the Dodgers are a better team, but this could be a competitive series, though, no, right?
Yes, it is, Blake. If you and if you look at this matchup, the Dodgers have all left-handed hitters, versus the Blue Jays, they're all right-handed. So when I look at it, of one of the of I think one of the biggest underdogs in all of Major League Baseball history in the World Series, where I think where to me where I look at it is that George Springer is no stranger in this biggest stage, where he has actually won a World Series ring with the Astros back in 2017, and I'm not surprised by it either. And I think that for the Dodgers,
Well, yeah, and
the,
he was the big hero in Game Seven against Seattle, wasn't he?
yes, he was, and that was the point where in that moment, in that part of the game, where the Seattle pitchers, um so the manager of so the Mariners manager just really, I think, made a big mistake by not making the pitching change. That was really the difference, from what I saw of the highlights of that game, is that one of the Seattle pitchers just could have stuck around much longer, and maybe things would turn out more differently, of a different outcome. But the hot hitters were just got too hot, and George Springer and Varios Guerreros Jr., the Dominican Republic player, but but grew up and calls his home up in Canada, where really, I think they were the best players on that team, and that was really the difference to me. But looking ahead of the World Series, I think the Dodgers are just going to be, I think, like you said, Blake, with Shohei Ohtani pitching and hitting at the same time, is going to be something that I believe one of the players, to have to hit and pitch at the same time, which is really, I think, for what for I think going to make history in the World Series, for being a star and one of the best players in the game right now. And so the Dodgers to me now look, Dodgers are the better team, but if you look at the last previous underdogs that are in the World Series, um, look at look at what the Braves did back in 2021. What did they
Now
do?
we're
They
talking.
won game
Now
one,
we're talking,
and
Jackson.
what up, Blake Lumberger?
Now we're talking.
So let me finish my point here before you jump in, Blake.
Go, go,
Is
go.
that the yeah yes is that the Atlanta Braves were once trailed in part of the series, but won game one, and and they end up winning the World Series, and, and then and then the last time we had a big underdog, who's not the betting favorites to win the World Series, we have to go back to Carl Ripken Jr. in the 1988 for the Athletics in Dodger Stadium. That was the last time the biggest underdog won a World Series title, and so it has happened before, but it hasn't happened in today's game, and it probably is a lot harder than it was back in that decade. So, and so and so I think so it can happen. It's not going to be easy, but I do believe the Blue Jays have a shot. I wouldn't say they're going to win, but they do have a shot of 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 getting their hot hitters of Laris um, Grouse Jr. And George Springer, not related to my mom's to mom's grandmother Joan Springer, but you get the idea
Or
Could be.
Jerry. Or
yeah, of course, but my point is that it can happen. It's probably not going to be easy, but a perfect example of that is you have the Uncle Mike Roby's Washington Nationals winning it in 2019. The Braves winning it two years later in 2021. So it can happen. It's probably happened before, but it's not going to be easy. But
Anything's possible.
all I can say that's right, Blake. All I can say is that the Blue Jays have a shot, and if it all goes as well for in Game One, then the Blue Jays have a shot, and if they do all that all on Friday night, then I think the Blue Jays will have a chance in the series.
Mike, what's your take on
Yeah.
this series as we jump in
Well,
here tomorrow?
yeah. So I'm wearing my Max Scherzer jersey, number 31, and uh, good wishes for Max in the World Series. He may get a chance to pitch. My guess is if he does, it may be Game 4. But yeah, I mean the Blue Jays, and certainly have a chance. But the Dodgers, their pitching is just awesome. Snell will pitch tomorrow night. He is pitching 0.86 ERA in the playoffs. Yamamoto is pitching game 2. He's got a 1.83 ERA
Oof,
in the playoffs.
it's tough.
And that's as far as the Dodgers have announced starting pitching.
Right.
Oh yeah, and there's Ohtani going to be pitching at some
Oh,
point.
by the way, we got a guy hitting bombs who can also throw the ball pretty hard too, right?
So, it's just it is going to be a hard row for the Blue Jays. Um, Interesting fact, Guerrero's dad used to play for the Expos,
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
the other Canadian team.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean Springer can hit the home runs, but good pitching is going to beat good hitting. And the Dodgers certainly have the pitching, and they got a good bullpen. So
So what do you think the case for Toronto is then, Mike? If you had to make it,
uh, I'm gonna stick with Jack's prediction last week. Dodgers take it in 6.
so you think it's going to be a pretty straightforward series for the Dodgers then?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Uh, yeah, Dodgers will win one in Toronto and then come back at the LA and they may finish it off then.
I think the only thing that, yeah, I guess the only maybe the benefit of having the home field advantage if it does end up being a later 6 or 7 game series like we saw in the
Hmm.
ALCS for Toronto. But yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to disagree with any of the things that we've laid
Yeah.
out here. The pitching, the hitting, it's Dodgers are a bit of a juggernaut. So I mean, I can't argue with
Yeah. I
any
don't
of the
think home field advantage means as much in the World Series as it might in other sports.
well, they are traveling to
Uh,
a different country though, you know.
well,
You
yeah,
got
but
to bring your passport, don't you?
Seattle, Seattle won the first two games in Toronto.
I think they're like the first ever team to win the first 2 games away from home in the CS and not
Yeah.
advance.
And so it didn't help them, and they came back to you know, uh, back to Seattle and didn't do so well.
Yeah,
The Dodgers have won on the road.
right.
Uh, they beat Milwaukee on the road. They beat the Phillies on the road. So,
It's gonna be loud in the Rogers Center tomorrow night, though, isn't it?
oh, it'll
So
be loud. It'll definitely be loud, but
you
Yeah.
can't discount that Canadian pride, can we?
no, but the Dodgers experience,
For
you
sure.
know, been there, done that.
No,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely. B.O. Limburger, what are your thoughts on this World Series matchup we got here, man?
Two words, one name, David Aries, Ayres. Does anybody know who this guy is?
I've never heard of him.
He was a Toronto Zambini driver, and when the Carolina Hurricanes played Toronto, they lost both their goalies to injury, and if you do that, the other team has to provide you a goalie. So Toronto gave the Hurricanes their Zambini driver. His last name, you will see Carolina Hurricanes jerseys with AYRES on the back. He played 1 game as a goalie in Toronto. He stopped every goal the Maple Leafs shot against the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes won the game. All that to say, Toronto is full of kind-hearted, friendly, aggressive sports fans. If they'll stop their own goals, they love sports. Toronto, small ball wins the day. They got one of the best bats. And I think they have the most hits in Major League, Mike. Am I wrong in that?
you're probably not. You're probably not wrong.
They have the small ball wins the day. They get on base. They hit singles. Small ball wins the day. I got a sneaky suspicion after that hockey U.S. versus Canada. It's going to be a great World Series. I think the Blue Jays take them in 7. Jackson, Mike, and Blake. Call me crazy.
You're
David
cra-
Aries.
You're
You're
crazy.
crazy, Blake. You're crazy. I hate to bring it to you, B.L. Weinberger, but I'm still sticking with the Dodgers in 6 games. Whether you like it or not, you got to go through Ohtani. You got to go through the hot hitters of Freddie Freeman and 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 um and all their star players, the
Mookie
Dodgers,
Betts, Shohei
Mookie Betts, Shohei
Ohtani,
Ohtani, and all those veteran guys you got to deal with, and yeah,
Max Muncy still knocking
Max
around.
Muncy is still hot, is still playing on a high level, and oh yeah, you got to go through all those players because they are hard to strike out, and their bats are going to
Yeah.
light it up, and they're going to get hot. So
And not to mention Hernandez.
yeah, him too, and yeah, Hernandez and those guys, yeah, those guys are going to light it up, and they're going to be hard to, and they're going to be very hard to strike out against as the opposing team in the World Series. So it's going to be tough, but it's going
Jackson.
to be shot. But B.A. Weinberger, B.A. Weinberger, listen. I appreciate your I appreciate your Canadian your Canadian predictions and feedback on
Thank you.
of course, and on this hockey and and this and this Zamboni thing of hockey theme,
But we're not
Canadian
playing
theme.
hockey here.
We're not playing hockey. This is baseball. So you gotta so you really
Jackson.
so I got to tell you
No,
something right
Jackson,
now,
but
Blake.
Jackson,
The Dodgers are going to beat the Blue Jays,
but to Blake's point, Jackson,
well,
Jackson,
Blake,
let me interrupt here though. The Blake Limburger was correct that the Toronto Blue Jays did lead the league in the regular season in hits by a good margin as well. So that is a good point by Beal Limberger there. If Toronto is able to play a different game than LA and really load the bases, hits, bunts, bloopers, steals, I mean, I can see a scenario where Beal Limberger is right with Toronto. I don't know if I would go as far as him to predict them to win the series, but I can definitely see the case that he's making there for sure.
Mike, do you see more? Do you tend to see more small ball, like bunt, move a runner forward in the playoffs? Does college baseball kind of come back in the
I think
playoffs?
I think things do tighten up a
Yeah,
little bit in the postseason, right, Mike?
they do. I mean, I think that was the Mariners' uh, problem in the offense. They relied could only score by the home run. They only
Mhm.
had a few runs via small ball.
Well, I feel like sometimes egos can get in the way.
Yeah, I
People say,
think that hurt them. Uh,
well, I'll tell you guys this. There was once a team named the Montreal Expos, if you guys can believe it or not. And it's one of the craziest stories in sports how they lost that team. They were a fantastic team at one point, and I believe they went to a city we all know, near and dear, and I believe they ended up in Washington, D.C., if I'm not mistaken, Mike. And I don't think Canada's going to let another team disappear from the Maple Leaf borders. So they got a lot of pride behind the Blue Jays.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Was
And
that is that right, Mike? Are you guys the Expos?
we are the Expos. In fact, we have Expo players on our stadium.
Do you ever see Expos jerseys at the games?
Yeah, all the
That's
time,
that's
all the
cool.
time. And in fact, they one of the throwback nights. Uh, I think in the 2019 season, the Nationals came out on the field with Expo uniforms.
That's
Nice.
cool. Well, great Netflix special currently on about how the Montreal left or lost the Expos. Fantastic. Check it out if you guys have time.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's that's quickly speaking of throwback uniforms, the Blake mentioned the Carolina Hurricanes earlier. They're playing tonight on Thursday against the Colorado Avalanche. Carolina Hurricanes used to be the Hartford Whalers. Colorado Avalanche used to be, speaking to Canada, the Quebec Nordiques. Both teams will be wearing throwback uniforms tonight in that
Oh,
matchup. So
oh,
go watch the highlights or watch the game of that. It'll be a fun little nostalgic trip right there for sure.
what's
Um,
the name? I didn't. You said what's
so
the
the,
name? The second one?
So it's the Hurricanes used to be in Hartford as the Whalers,
Uh-huh.
and the Avalanche used to be in Quebec,
Like,
Quebec, Canada, as the
And what was
Nordiques.
what is that? How do you spell that? What is that?
Nordique. I honestly have no
yeah.
idea. French Canadian term, but
Okay, cool.
um, but
Love
yeah,
it.
no, they're doing a little classic throwback matchup there, so definitely one to keep an eye on there for sure.
Nice. Are they
As
still
long
undefeated? Hurricanes undefeated still?
that's a good question actually. I
I
think
think they lost.
They did.
They're tied with three other teams for second right now.
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So. But yeah, speaking of Canada, I'm gonna give so Jackson's on the Dodgers, Blake's on the Toronto Blue Jays. God, my heart wants me to say Toronto is gonna win this series, but my head just thinks the Dodgers are a better team. I'm gonna go with the Dodgers in seven, I think, just to give Toronto a bit of credit, home field advantage. But I think the Dodgers ultimately will get it done. Mike, do you have a prediction for this one?
Yeah, the stick Dodgers in six.
Dodgers in six. Okay. Jackson, are you the same? Dodgers in six?
Yes,
Okay. And Blake,
I'm still sticking with my Dodgers pick. Yes.
Your Blue Jays in seven? Blue Jays in six? What are you saying?
Oh, we're going all the way, baby. Seven. If they're going to win it, it's going to take the Dodgers are just too good. They're going to take some games. They'll take
Yeah, yeah,
Shohei's game. Let's see how rubber and loose that arm is. That guy's got some dog in him. So let's see how much they want to put him in to win this.
for sure, for sure. Game six will be on Halloween as well, so keep an eye out for that one in Toronto. Um, but yeah, I guess we should mention as well, Mike, that game in the NLCS that Otani put together.
Hmm.
Pitching, I think it was game three, right, where he pitched and hit multiple home runs in the same game. I guess we should probably just
Yeah,
before
three
we move
home
up move off
runs.
of baseball. I mean, that's something that's probably not getting enough credit as to like how unprecedented that is, particularly in the postseason,
Hmm.
putting together elite pitching performance and hitting multiple home runs in the same playoff championship series game. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
you never. I'm sure you never thought you would see that in your lifetime, did you?
No, I mean, just to pitch 6 innings. And oh, by the way, he struck out 10. And then, yeah, he hit 3 home runs all in the same game. It's,
Crazy.
yeah, I mean, you got to tip your cap to him.
Would you say he's the best baseball player that you have ever seen in your lifetime?
And he's got to be the best overall baseball player
Because I know
that I've ever
you've
seen.
been watching the game for a while. You'd say he's the best
Yeah,
you've seen, yeah?
yeah. I mean, the best overall baseball player for sure.
Yeah, I certainly would say that for myself as well. Obviously, I haven't been watching the game maybe as long as you have, but
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of just complete athleticism, ability, skill, able to do so much on the field,
Hmm.
you know, it's pretty incredible what he's doing, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. He's phenomenal.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Well, you've heard our predictions here on Good Guy Sports for the World Series. We'll certainly be tracking that series as we progress here. Game one tomorrow night on the 24th, Friday. Game two on Saturday, and then the series will switch to LA on the 27th. So certainly an exciting series. Keep an eye. A lot of blue in that series as well. Huh? A bit of a blue bowl with the Dodgers Blue Jays going on. So certainly a fun series. I think good to see on the American League side teams that we're not particularly used to seeing. You know, no Yankees, Red Sox, Astros, or whatever. So I'm excited for this World Series. I think it's gonna be a good one. So we'll certainly cover it as we progress here. But we have to switch, gentlemen, to a little bit of gridiron, a little football on the college side, because if you're not aware, college game day is taking place in a little city we call Music City, Jackson. That's right, Nashville, Tennessee. Why are they in Nashville, Tennessee, you ask? Well, they are there to cover the 10th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores hosting the Missouri Tigers, 15th ranked themselves, in a massive SEC matchup. Vanderbilt coming off of a very impressive home win against the LSU Tigers. Diego Pavia's Heisman candidacy is alive and well as we sit here today. And so that will be put to the test against Missouri. This Vanderbilt team has put together a real storybook season, aren't they? You have to say that massive win against Alabama last year. People thought it was maybe a bit of a fluke and a poor Alabama team that was there for the taking. Granted, they weren't able to repeat the that same victory in Tuscaloosa this year, but you have to say this Vanderbilt team has really gone strength to strength and has put together some impressive performances this year. I'm obviously biased, being my alma mater. I will be in Nashville in November to be around Vanderbilt campus and soak in the atmosphere. So I'm hoping they keep that momentum going and carry on that Commodore pride. But I mean, 10th ranked. If you watch the CFP projections, they're currently thereabouts in the playoff spot. I mean, it's a good day. It's a good time to be a Commodore right now, isn't it, Jackson?
Oh, it sure is, Blake. And if you think about what kind of level Diego Pavia has been playing on, he is playing a lot better than he did
Elite.
very elite than he did last season. You look at him that he that is that we're that he's playing on a very high level that he previously played at, what Uncle Mike should know about Diego Pavio is that he was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where Uncle Mike was just at long ago. And believe it or not, Blake, I don't know if you know, but he connected his flight in Nashville to Albuquerque. Although he didn't pack his bags and suitcases at the bag claim at being in the airport because he had no time for that because he had somewhere to be for with his grandkids or his family that day. But the point is that Vanderbilt, there's going to be a lot of excitement and hype for the college game day atmosphere. There's going to be a lot of hype and excitement. There's going to be a lot of country music stars, and there'll be Johnny Cash possibly making an appearance or all that. But Diego Pavia,
Hologram.
well, yeah, of course. But Diego Pavia has been playing great. He is played stayed healthy, and he didn't turn the football over too much. He's very elite, and he's playing very he's playing great football lately, and his team came out on a statement win against LSU last week, and for his time and his time previously at New Mexico State for 2 seasons, he's played great there before transferring to Vanderbilt last season, and as a senior, that I think that Vanderbilt, to me, I think this game is going to be a low scoring defensive game. It'll be a low scoring, a fair game, and Vanderbilt, you have got two great passing defenses going at it, and great high scoring offenses going at it for both sides of the ball. You're going up against Bruria Paruria, also a senior quarterback from Mizzou. So I think so. Here's how I see this game playing out. I have Missouri covering, Vanderbilt winning in a tight one. It's going to be close. It's going to be a low scoring game, but I think Vanderbilt will barely pull it off. But it's going to be close. But Missouri won't cover, and I think. And I think
they're a good football team, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and Missouri last week they played a lot of defense, and they went on the road and beat Auburn last week, and
they kept it tight against Bama as well, didn't they?
They did. Both Missouri and Vanderbilt lost to Alabama, and that was really and that was really how it all went down for each team in the conference, just because of how Ty Simpson is playing on a very high level, and how he's just doesn't turn the ball over too much, and Alabama is still Alabama for a reason, and I think, to me, if Vanderbilt plays a great game and doesn't turn the ball over, they'll probably win the game. But I think Missouri is going to put some points on the board. They will keep things close, and
Sure.
there will be some nervous moments in this game with Missouri possibly taking the lead or keeping things close. But in the end, I think Vanderbilt will pull it off. But I think Missouri will keep things close in this game.
Fair enough. You gotta respect the Tigers. Jackson, you mentioned College Game Day coming to Vanderbilt. Nick Saban, Pat McAfee. I mean, all of these big market ESPN, SEC guys over the years, they've been ragging on Vanderbilt. Nick Saban said there's no easy games in the SEC. Well, maybe apart from Vanderbilt. That was before Vanderbilt stomped his Crimson Tide last year. And he had to eat some crow, a little bit of humble pie, didn't he, there? Good to see kind of the national recognition that Vanderbilt's finally get. College Game Day will be on campus there on the Peabody lawn, Wyatt lawn there. It'll be good to see. But I think it's good for some of these national, talking heads focusing on Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. It's good to see Vanderbilt getting their moment in the sun, isn't it, Jackson?
Sure is, Blake. Ever since they went on this run that nobody thought that anyone saw coming, and yet they are by far, I think, one of the best teams in college football, other than, of course, Indiana, of course, who's also having a great season.
I'm sick of Indiana. I mean,
yeah,
we'll get to that.
Well, of course we will. But Vanderbilt, this is one of those teams that nobody saw coming, and not that I'm surprised by it, but this is one of those teams that somehow recruited on a very high level. They before the transfer portal,
got to give credit to head coach Clark Lee.
Clark Lee is pushing all the right buttons, and he just
absolutely.
And back in 2021, they made some renovations for one of their athletic facilities, and they make things even bigger
the stadium's
better.
Been renovated, First Bank Stadium.
Their athletic fields and their training campus facility and their athletics fields and department out there on the campus is really taking things on in the next level. And I think that what Vanderbilt is doing is actually a great thing for college football, even though over the years they have not been great. But the last time that College Game Day was in Vanderbilt, we have to go back to 2008. It was against Auburn, and I believe Vanderbilt won that game that year, and that was the last time College Game Day made an appearance there on the campus of Vanderbilt. But I do believe Vanderbilt is definitely heading in the right direction in football.
So should the Vanderbilt fans give Nick Saban some boo birds when he's there on campus then?
Well, you have to. Well. I think they. Well, but there might be a possibility. I mean,
Here, I'll give you an example. Boo!
or they should be very excited to see him. Or when he talks.
Nah, Nick Saban's dismissive of Vanderbilt. I think they should boo him.
Well, they should only boo him if he talks, or he just, or if Alabama is picking against our South Carolina
There's no
Gamecocks,
way
which.
he's gonna pick Missouri. Nick Saban hates Vanderbilt. He thinks they're a Mickey Mouse school, and he's gonna pick against Vanderbilt. But listen, don't listen to Nick. He's past his best. So I think Vanderbilt's got to focus on themselves, not listen to the noise. But Mike,
Right.
what do
Yeah.
you make of this matchup? Big one in the SEC this week, isn't it?
Yeah, you got two 6-1 teams going head to head. It's gonna be a battle, but anchor down. Vanderbilt takes it.
Come on, let's
They'll
go.
win. They'll win by 5. But last week, I think the surprise last week, and I gotta say, Louisville
Oh yeah,
going down to Miami
crazy, huh?
Mm.
and beating the Canes 24-21.
Just when we thought Miami might have, turned the
Yeah,
page.
and then this past Sunday, Billy Napier gets fired from Florida.
And so does James Franklin. So yet
So that's three
during
coaches
Hot
well,
seat.
yeah,
mid-season that get
of
from
what I would
major schools get canned.
during the midseason where we always have this conversation where we call it the coaching carousel, like Uncle Mike said. So
Right.
yeah, lots happening. But I do want to piggyback on Vanderbilt for real quick before we jump to another topic. And I know we're
Sure.
on short time. We want to keep things
Spend as much time on the
moving on if
doors
we
as you
can.
would like, my friend.
But I do want to keep this moving on because we have another topic to talk
Sure.
about. But I do want to point out that there were some games that were this close that they should have lost to. Well, obviously we know about their game a few back in early October against Alabama. But if you look at what they did against LSU, what they did against LSU and against Virginia Tech, which was a statement win for them going into Blacksburg, and then the game that they should have lost to, and yet South Carolina is possibly heading in the wrong direction, and they're possibly in the hot seat of firing Coach Shane Beamer. That was a game where we should have won, and I got to bring Blake Lumberger in there to this conversation
I think you're well beaten there.
because South Carolina should have won this game. They had the lead in the fourth quarter, but Vanderbilt just
No.
but Vanderbilt
You were well beaten in that one. I'm not letting you have that one, Jack.
But Vanderbilt just
We were all over you on that one.
I know, but they were but my point is Vanderbilt just kept drives going and more in total domination and kept some drives alive, and that was really the difference in that game. And BL Lumberger, you got to talk to me because Vanderbilt beat
Make
our
him feel
Gamecocks,
better. He's real in
and
here.
anybody listening in Columbia
Help me.
should really push the panic button on South Carolina because I think Coach Shane Beamer, if he loses this Saturday to Alabama, then he should be considered on the hot seat. Am I crazy, Blake?
You're
BL Lumberger, am I crazy?
I think
Goodness, Jackson, are you kidding me?
I'm just saying, Blake. I'm just saying. I'm not
That's a
saying
lot
it's going to happen, but it's something to like really consider. That's all I got for you, BL Lumberger.
it's a lot to take in for sure. South Carolina has a big.
I mean, look, here's the thing, Jackson. Not so fast. We're playing in. I mean, look at our schedule. Look, here's the thing. We've got an. I'm not giving up on Beamer ball yet. The guy inherited an incredible, one of the most difficult skills in the country this year. Listen, Diego Pavia turned down $4 million offers to go back to Vanderbilt. So he's a good quarterback. He had plenty of big offers, turned them down. I'm not giving up on Beamer. Jackson, you can't give up on Beamer yet. He's got a culture. He kept Sellers there. Sellers doesn't have an offensive line. Everybody's like he's not doing good. Doesn't have an offensive line. You're right. The game have a state win. You're going to knock off a big Tom Brady team, and it's going to hurt them. Watch and see it, Jackson. They're not going to that.
Well, is that going to be this weekend against Alabama at home?
Yeah, and I have
Yes,
news for
it
you.
is. It, there,
Probably not.
it
I have
ain't
news for you, Blake.
saying, Jackson. Willie
Ty
D. I'm
Simpson is going
calling
to
it.
go into Williams-Brice Stadium, and they are going to beat the Gamecocks. You hear to hear
Oh,
first. They're
Jackson
going
picking
to.
Jackson,
Bama.
it's Bama ball. It's Beaver ball, baby. Gamecocks upset Alabama. This is a trap game for
Wow.
Alabama.
Trap game.
Gamecocks win. Sellers puts his NFL draft stock much higher after this weekend.
You're crazy, Blake. You're crazy. You're out of your mind.
Well, we'll see. Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we, Mike? I mean, you're a man for an upset, aren't you? Or
Yeah.
what do you see in this one?
Well, South Carolina takes it with the last minute field goal.
Wow.
Wow, I love it. I
Wow.
love it.
I don't know why I'm surprised, but I still am. Unbelievable. You know what, Jackson? I'm taking the Gamecocks. 3 out of 4. South Carolina beats Alabama at
Wow.
home. You're the
Jackson.
only one picking the tide here, my friend.
Wow.
How about that?
Well, here's what. Well, I'm not.
He's gonna switch now. Watch this.
I am not going to pick South Carolina. I'm
Okay.
still sticking with Bama.
All right. All right.
But you got to hear. But here's the thing: South Carolina has not played well on both sides of the ball.
No, you're right. You're right.
Losses to Oklahoma
They're a bad
and
football team.
Vanderbilt, and what's shown me for this team is that they didn't do much ever since they scored a lot of points against the game against Vanderbilt. But since that game, this South Carolina team is not the same. And if they continue to lose games, then I'm sorry, they're not going to make a bowl game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, but here on Good Guy Sports, we love a good upset. So, I think we're gonna stick with our picks here, and we'll find out on Saturday, won't we?
We will.
The other, I guess, big SEC game we should maybe mention is the Ole Miss Rebels coming off of a disappointing loss to Georgia last week, traveling to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners, who themselves are looking to bounce back. They beat South Carolina last weekend, as you mentioned, lost in the Red River game. They got a big stretch here against Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama. There'll be playoff hopefuls for sure. What do you make of this matchup, Jack? Probably the other big matchup we'd have to look forward to. I guess Texas A&M, LSU, another big SEC game maybe as well, but a couple of big games to
Right.
cover in the SEC, right?
Right. So you got Ole Miss and Oklahoma sitting there at 6-1. Did you guys hear this report on ESPN where I think it was Brett Venables or Lane Kiffin? They were using a sign during on the field, and that to me I find is a distraction. So that was something that I find striking and interesting the way I look at it. But the way I look at this for this game is I think John Mateer and I do favor Oklahoma in this one. This game is being played in Norman, so I do think John Mateer is going to play is going to play a great game. He's not going to turn the ball over too much. He's going to play great in this game. He's going to stay healthy and just hold on and just make sure you protect the football and don't turn the ball over. So I think Oklahoma is going to pick in this game, and I have Oklahoma win this game, and yeah, so yeah, Ole Miss coming off a loss last week on the
So
road,
you
and
think
a
Ole
close
Miss's
one
season
against.
is gonna hit a bit of a downturn here, you think, huh?
I think so. Yes, I do.
Tough. You're in the SEC and you got a brutal schedule in October and November, isn't it? Like the games
Right.
don't get any easier, do they? This
No,
this time of year.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And it's really the part of the season where it's crunch time and where everything is on the line, and you just got to just kind of a survival for your season in order to
Right.
make the college football playoff. That you're pretty much just on the outside of it, and it's going to come down to which team in the SEC is going to probably going to make the conference or survive it is really how it's all going to turn out.
Well, yeah, I mean the current SEC standings, only undefeated teams in conference is Bama and then Texas A&M, who probably maybe not getting enough hype, Mike, taking on the LSU Tigers this weekend in Death Valley, though. So could that be a bit of a trap game for the Aggies, maybe?
It could. It could very well.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I think I got the Aggies coming in winning.
Oh,
Do you think they're a contender for the national championship? I mean, they're third ranked. They put together a pretty strong season so far, but
Hmm.
maybe the critics would argue they haven't had to face the toughest of opponents. But they have LSU, Missouri, South Carolina, and then finishing with Texas, not playing against Bama or Georgia this year. So,
Yeah. Well, I think that the Aggies got something to prove to people.
right.
That they're a real team.
I think
So,
head coach Mike Elko has done a pretty good job of transforming that program. So I think we'll find out a lot about them
hmm.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
Going,
yeah,
LSU not maybe having the season they had hoped, but it's still a tough place to go on a Saturday night ball game,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
So
yeah. It is. It is. And Gus Meyer is a great quarterback. Ever since he won a game on the road, well, they're well, ever since they lost the whole opener a year ago against USC. Well, Gus Meyer, ever since coming off the win against last week against Clemson, that I think the last few meetings, wherever this game's being played in Baton Rouge or Texas A&M, um, has um, has won by the home team. So that's really my biggest storyline in this game. But so this year, I'm going to take the LSU Tigers because they're playing at home. Death Valley Tigers team is a tough place to play, and I think LSU is going to be rocking Saturday night. That's all I got.
fair enough. It wouldn't shock me if LSU pulls off the upset there for sure. I mean, they're ranked themselves still, so maybe not a massive upset, but yeah. I mean, listen, this is the SEC, gentlemen. They got good teams playing against good teams, better teams playing against better teams. I mean, we shouldn't really be surprised if teams beat other teams that are not ranked as higher. They're at home. I mean, this is kind of the competitiveness of the conference given what we have right now. So certainly an exciting weekend in college football to keep an eye on.
And
Um,
and be and before we move on to college
sure.
football, Blake, I'd like to point out with all the best teams in the college football ranking that I am here to tell you. Now I know you're biased against the Hoosiers, but I'm here to
Oh,
tell
here we
you
go.
that Indiana is for real. They 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 have found a way to turn around and thanks in large part that Indiana their Heisman quarterback Pavio for Vanderbilt, standing in the way along with him is Frandeno Mendoza. That's a fun name to say. That I think Pavio and Mendoza and Ty Simmons and Drew Sand,
Francisco.
they will all get an invite to the Heisman Trophy ceremony in December in New York, and that will be,
As long as they're invited.
of course, which they will be. So
Okay.
and yeah, and Mendoza is the Heisman favorite currently. So only time will tell how it will turn out. But their head coach Kurt Kubiak has done a great job
Kurt Signetti.
recruiting. Kurt Signetti, yes, he's been
Jackson,
doing a great job. But
this
he's
guy's
been doing
got a this guy's got a loud mouth, man.
I know,
He loves to talk, doesn't he?
but
Kurt
but
Signetti.
but at the same time, he's still a coach. That's what football coaches do.
Yeah, that's true.
So I know
That's true.
so I know you're not so I know you don't like it, but that's part of the game in college football. And that
Yeah.
he's a great coach. He's turned this program around, and I'm here to tell you that Indiana football is for real, and they are playing at a high level, and they are one of the best teams in the college football inside the top 10 right now. So along with Ohio State and Georgia Tech, who beat our Blue Devils last week when you and I were at the game together with
Don't
Dad.
remind me.
And well, I just did.
Oh,
And so A&M and Ohio State and Georgia and Vanderbilt and BYU, well, it's going to be a trap game for them because they are going to get upset because they are going to get upset at Texas Tech. So you heard it here first. And but yeah, Indiana's signature win on the road against Oregon is a statement signature win, and that is the biggest win of the season for the Hoosiers. And everybody listening in Bloomington should be excited because Indiana football is back. It's back, baby.
I'm not
Indiana.
sure it was ever there to begin with, but yeah, Kurt Signetti has got these Hoosiers
That's what I was gonna say, Blake.
purring.
I was thinking the same thing. I don't know if it was ever there to begin with.
Hey, listen, Bobby Knight's not walking through that door, is he? But listen, I mean, you have to give credit where credit's due here. Kurt Signetti, he talks the talk, but he walks the walk so far. Big wins, and to be honest, looking at the schedule, there's no more ranked opponents as we sit here because toughest game would be away at Penn State, who, Jackson mentioned they themselves have fired their coach earlier this year. So it's really all to play for in terms of that. They don't have to play Ohio State this year on their schedule. So the 1 and 2 ranked teams in the country here as we stand. So
I'm gonna say something crazy, guys.
sure.
Is you guys okay with me saying something a little crazy?
Go for it.
Go for it.
I,
That's why we're here.
I was less shocked by what Shohei Ohtani did on the mound and batting the other game in the playoffs than what Indiana is doing, being a top 4 ranked team in the country right now. And Mike knows baseball. What Shohei Ohtani did in that game the other night was unreal, and that shocked me less than Indiana football being a top 4 program right
Maybe,
now.
yeah, maybe it's because Otani has been great for a couple of years, whereas Indiana, they were okay last year. They stuck into the playoffs, but this year they're like taking the step up. So I know what you're saying. Like the shock of Indiana being like a
It's
national
substantial.
championship contender
Yeah.
this year is
It's
a big jump.
substantial.
It's a big jump for sure.
It's as shocking as Vanderbilt being good.
There
Correct.
you go.
Correct. Mike, you're not wrong.
Hey, listen, if Vanderbilt was in the Big Ten, we'd be ranked probably #1 right now, to be fair. So
Wait a second. Are Vanderbilt and Indiana both top 4 teams right now?
now Vanderbilt's ranked 10th right now because they do have one
Okay.
loss. But to be fair, it was at Bama, so not the worst loss.
Yeah.
But currently ranked 10th with one loss right now. Vanderbilt
Jackson,
is, yeah.
is Bama Vanderbilt the new rivalry in the SEC after the last 2
I
years?
think they're pretty I mean they're pretty scared, man. They were sweating that one out in Tuscaloosa this year. I mean
Who
we were
would have
watching.
thought?
It was not a straightforward win for the Tide this year at home, so it
Who would have thought?
could very well become that.
Goodness gracious.
So is the SEC and everybody else.
Well, you say that, but the top 2 ranked teams in the country are Ohio State and Indiana.
Oh, I know.
So.
I know.
And Oregon's still in the top 10 as well. The likes of Georgia Tech. We should probably mention Georgia Tech as well. I mean,
That's a big shocker.
I mean, we grew up in Atlanta, and Georgia Tech was kind of always, a frisky ACC team, never really challenging for much, but they're kind of a good story as well in the ACC, undefeated, as Jackson mentioned.
Yeah, they got a better record than the U.
They do, and they look in a prime position. The ACC has no division, so they look in a good position here to clinch a ACC championship
Yeah.
berth. Interesting to see that game against Georgia at home, kind of how they stack up against SEC opposition,
Yeah.
because so far they beat the only ranked teams they've come against was Clemson, who people that if you can remember back that far, that's when Clemson was actually good back then, which was a long time ago, wasn't it? So the ACC
Well, I
has
think
been,
that's another shocker this year that on the downswing is the Clemson Tigers.
yeah. I mean, losing at home to SMU is not necessarily something you would think that's something Clemson basketball
Yeah.
would do, not Clemson football, is it? So
I think the Yellow Jackets can't look past the Orangemen on Saturday. I mean, Syracuse is sitting at 3-4, but they've played some big teams pretty good.
for sure, and they're playing here in Raleigh as well on November 1st against NC State. So
Yeah.
you don't want to overlook an opponent maybe like the Miami Hurricanes did against Louisville, and all of a sudden you got a blemish on your record there in the ACC. So yeah, definitely all to play for there in that conference. But yeah, no, it'd be fun if Tech wins all their games and comes up against a high ranked UGA. I can't remember the last time a Georgia Tech versus UGA game was both teams being ranked top 10 or something like that. That'd be pretty fun. So
Yeah.
so yeah, certainly some big matchups to look forward to as we progress here. All right, let's jump to a little bit of NFL chat now, as we've got some time left. We are in full swing here in the NFL. Some really fun matchups last weekend. I think we mentioned we recorded last Thursday on the Pittsburgh Cincinnati game. That was a bit of a crazy game with Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco, the Granddad Bowl as we call it. A couple of old quarterbacks turning back the clock and airing it out with
So when did Cincinnati change their name to the Zebras?
yeah.
That's a great question.
Do you like the white stripe uniforms, Mike?
That would be no.
Hey, did you guys see the Chargers uniforms? Well, to me, they look
The
like the
yellow.
Savannah Bananas.
They did, yeah. There was a lot of yellow going on there, wasn't it, Jack?
Yeah, and to me, it's getting a bit ridiculous. They should not be doing this anymore. Like, if I'm that organization, they should stop doing that. It's getting a bit cheesy for me.
Well, yeah, because it's yellow probably too, right? But
Well, yeah.
yeah, no, that it seems like to experiment with the uniforms now. I'm with you. I'm more of a classic uniform. Give me the Cowboys, Packers, Steelers. Classic uniforms never change. I'm more of a traditionalist in that sense. But yeah, look, I mean, we saw some interesting wins, some interesting losses last week. I think particularly on the Monday night, we had doubleheader, didn't we, with Detroit defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, two teams that will certainly be in the playoff picture in the NFC, and then the Seattle Seahawks as well, taking care of the Houston Texans to go to 5-2. Interestingly enough, in the NFC West, three teams at 5-2, which is the best record, tied for the best record in the NFC, three teams in the same division. Pretty wild, but obviously once those teams start
Well, you
playing each
also have
other,
the Rams at 4-2.
I think I know they're all five and
They're
two
all
actually.
5-2.
They're all five and
Okay.
two, yeah. So the Seahawks will play the
Yeah.
Rams in November. They'll play and then they'll play the 49ers and the Rams again both in December. And the Niners will take on the Rams. So they won the first game against the Rams and they'll play them again in November, and then the last game of the season will be against the Seahawks. So not too dissimilar to the past couple of seasons where the NFC West has seems to be the class of the NFC. To be fair though, I think the NFC North could maybe stake a claim to that as well. Green Bay Packers are leading that at 4-1. I would say they've looked good, not amazing so far. Like they snuck past the Cardinals, looked pretty good against the Bengals, tied against the Cowboys, and lost to the Browns. The Lions, I think, still have a lot of credit in the bank. I think they played a great football game on Monday night against Tampa. I think they're still a great team. Some people had question marks about them after losing Ben Johnson. I think they're still a great football team. They're at home against the Vikings on Sunday. And then they're in Washington to face Mike's Commanders pretty soon. But NFC playoff picture, Mike.
Hmm.
I know your Commanders are not looking amazing right now, coming on two straight losses and facing a tough test in Arrowhead. So not exactly the best outlook currently right now. But NFC playoff picture wise, Eagles, Packers, Buccaneers, and then some teams in the NFC West, right? I mean, who's impressed you so far from the NFC this season, would you say?
Um, yeah, the Rams and the Bucks, probably the two teams that have impressed me the
I think the
most.
Rams have surprised people, given
Hmm.
people maybe would have thought written off Stafford given his age, injury
Yeah.
history, right?
Yeah, I mean the Vikings need a quarterback. Uh,
Carson Wentz isn't doing it for you.
no, he wasn't doing it uh at all last week against the Eagles. So I think they're missing McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy is badly needed back into that system.
Yeah, yeah. Um, they're sort of like the Bengals and missing of a quarterback. Now, the Commanders, I mean, what can I say? But at least this week, the good news is both McLaren and and Debo Samuels were back on the practice field today. So fingers crossed that they'll play. Jane Daniels will be out against the Chiefs. And I think
Bad
the
news,
the
yeah.
last time to come Washington has beaten the Chiefs, I think I want to go back all the way back to 1983.
That was the Reagan administration.
So it's been a while.
That's gonna be a tall task. The Chiefs are playing pretty good right now as well, aren't
Yeah,
they?
I don't.
Yeah, they are.
Unfortunately, I see the Chiefs winning that one.
Dang. Well, if Mike isn't picking the Commanders, then I certainly aren't. But Jackson, what do you see in the AFC right now? Because Mike mentioned the Chiefs. They started off maybe a bit rocky, but they've looked pretty well the past couple weeks. A big win against the Lions, a domination against the Raiders. Obviously, the Broncos are tough competition in that division. The Chargers, bit banged up, but they're there thereabouts, despite their yellow uniforms, as you pointed out. I think the real storyline in the AFC right now, Jackson, is Daniel Jones, Indiana Jones, as they're calling him, and his Colts, really, showing up there in the AFC and surprising a lot of people. So they must be the surprise team this year, right?
They are, Blake, and they're doing it on a high level. Last time they were 6-1, they reached the Super Bowl, and I think, and Jonathan Taylor and one of Daniel Jones' favorite weapon has seen it all, and he's playing on a high level. They are off to a great start. They've been playing great. They've been playing healthy, and the Colts are for real. And I believe, besides the Chiefs, I think the Colts are going to be. I think, to me, the Colts could be the dark horse to the throw of the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, but you still got to beat the Chiefs because you got Stakes, Balboa, and that talented defense. But I'm here to tell you, the Colts are for real,
So
and
you
they are
think
going to the Super Bowl.
contenders, not pretenders? Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
they are contenders.
Okay.
And let me figure out a team that you're forgetting before we move on
Sure.
to our next topic very quick. We're very short on time here.
Yep.
The New England Patriots. That's
There we
right.
go.
They are first place in the East. Drake May is playing some great
Not for
football
long.
lately on a high level, and Josh McDaniels, who is back at the helm where he once was as their offensive coordinator. The Patriot way is back. They are the culture is better than ever. And yes, the Bills are still going to be good in that division, coming off a bye. We know how Josh Allen and those guys are. But I'm here to tell you, Blake, that the Patriots, Stephon Diggs and Austin Hooper and those young rookie veteran guys have stepped it up, and the Patriots are back, and they are going to be better than ever.
Does that mean you're picking them ahead of the Bills in the AFC East?
Yeah, yes.
You're picking the Patriots to win the AFC East.
Yes, I am.
Wow, we got a lot of hot takes on the show, Mike.
And real quick before we move on to basketball, real quick. Also, Saquon Barkley, the Eagles will be returning to his. Will be playing the revenge game against his former team, the Giants. Well, part of why the Giants couldn't agree to him on a contract extension is because of a offer that he couldn't get a long-term deal because of financial agreements with the Giants deserve. But I look at this matchup last week, Blake. The Eagles got scatterbooed, and their quarterback Jackson Dart was playing on a high level. They turned the ball over too well.
Jackson.
And sexy Dexy Lawrence is going to make things interesting.
Goodness.
And the G-men are going to make it interesting. But at the end of the day,
Wow.
I think the Eagles win this game. That's all I'm going to say. So,
Okay.
So real quick, Blake, let's try to move on to basketball predictions real quick before we have to call our show today.
Yes.
Jackson, I gotta jump off here, but I think if I heard you right, I think you said the Charlotte Hornets are going to go from one of the worst teams in the NBA to winning the entire NBA championship.
Blake, before you go, Blake, 1 minute left. We just want your NBA Finals prediction: Eastern Conference champion, Western Conference champion. NBA just started this week. Who you got, man?
It's gonna be the Lakers and the Hornets. It's gonna be the Lakers and the Hornets.
I like the optimism.
You're crazy. You're crazy, Blake.
Jackson,
Well, I disagree with you, Blake.
The Panthers are going to the playoffs. The Hornets are going to the playoffs. Charlotte FC is going to the playoffs. The Carolina Hurricanes are going to the playoffs.
He's a glass half.
It's the Carolina.
You're crazy, Blake. You're crazy about football. That's ridiculous. But to me, Blake, I have the Cavs going to the finals in the East. I have the Oklahoma City Thunder going to the West. And who I have winning NBA MVP in first, I have the Joker. And then I have SGA winning second. And then I have Luka Doncic winning in third. That's That's how. And I have Cooper Flag. I know it's a long season, but I have Cooper Flag winning NBA All Rookie of the Year. That is Jackson's NBA predictions of this season.
You heard it here
Watch out,
first.
Mike's Con Knipple's playing good. Mike was right. Con Knipple is playing
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Fair. Mike, what do you got with your finals prediction here?
Thunder, Oklahoma,
Against?
Knicks.
Ooh, okay. A little orange and blue
Ooh.
matchup.
Yeah.
I've been hearing a lot of Stephen A. Smith, and he is so
Villanova
high.
North will take the
Yes.
East.
Well, I've heard a lot of Stephen A. Smith, and he is so high on the Knicks. Here's where I see it play out. If Giannis Antetokounmpo signs with the Knicks past offseason, which he didn't do, then I am taking the Knicks to go to the NBA Finals. But since he didn't, I am sticking with the Cavs. That's how it's all going to go down with me. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Stephen A., but I appreciate you. But I appreciate your pick. But I'm still sticking with Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs.
And I have to go with Knoopel for the Rookie of the Year.
Nice.
Okay,
Shout out to the Hornets. I'm gonna be a bit different just because I want to. I'm gonna pick the Denver Nuggets winning the finals over the New York Knicks. What about that, Jax?
Ooh. Everybody on ESPN and all the sports shows are picking the Knicks too, but I am not. I'm still writing because the Cavs are because the Cavs are the betting favorites to win the East. So I know all you people out there in sports world are still high on the Knicks, but I'm still writing with the Cavs. The Cavs. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
And of course, don't forget that Jason Tatum for the Celtics is out for the year, and they traded away Porzingis and Al Horford for the team. And let's not forget, and I know Uncle Steve is listening out there, but my dad's Sixers beat your Celtics at home in their season opener. The Celtics were
long way to go, man.
second longest season in wins and openers, but this year they lost their home opener to my dad's Joe and Embiid and Joe and Embiid and the 76ers and the 76ers what and if you look at what they did in their game last night, Blake Gerke, is that
you're not going to overreact to one game, are you?
Well, no. What the Sixers did is
it's 81 more games.
Is VJ
way too many games?
Right? Is VJ Edgecombe who has joined a great list of company along with the great Walt Chamberlain, who had 43 points, did it on October 24th.
Well, you heard it here first.
On
VJ Edgecombe is the next Wilt Chamberlain.
And the 76ers had beat Uncle Steve's Boston Celtics, and the 76ers and Jordan B are off to a great start. And everybody in Philly should be very excited right now that the 76ers are one of the best contenders in the East, and they are off to a great start, Blake.
Okay. Fair enough. Can't argue with that. We got a long NBA season that we will certainly be touching back on as we progress here on Good Guy Sports. Want to thank everyone for tuning in, listening, and viewing, and we hope you have a great rest of your October and enjoy the World Series. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.